my whole life was set up to become this success in banking. Something just disconnected. The banking sector wasn't really supporting the protest. There were communications internally saying we shouldn't be there. I had like my parents telling me like, look, use your sense. Like you're not a child. Like you can't give in. I remember even my supervisor called me to his house. He was giving me everything to like keep me there. Man, when the spirit enters, it's very difficult to stop it. When I dropped my resignation letter, I didn't tell anybody. I've signed this thing and I'm not looking back.
Today, I'm honored to host Dare Aderinokun, known as Bosco and the co-founder of Quacktails, a trailblazing cocktail delivery brand. He sold over 500,000 drinks and partnered with global names like Jägermeister and Spotify. So what is your quote-unquote failure story, as it were, or a setback story that you're going to share with us today?
I mean, my failure story, there's so many, it happens, failure for me happens almost every day, but if I can pick one, I'll say it has to go back to just not being, or just not just making it in banking, because I feel like my whole life and my whole personality, especially in my 20s, was set up to become this success in banking, to become this success in GT Bank. I feel like my family, myself, like we just believe that, okay, if anybody in the family was going to, it'll be this guy, my dad was a banker. He had maybe, I don't know, call it less successful bank, but he had one of the banks that were consolidated. My uncle founded one of the more successful banks in GT Bank. So, after school, came back to Nigeria, like my mind was really set on just going in that same line, going into banking and just building on what the family had built on. So I'd worked 10 years. And, what's so funny about my own banking story is it wasn't like 10 years of like failure, because I started really well. I got promoted like my first 3 years back to back, Ginger was flowing. I worked my way into the most profitable team in the bank, which was the oil and gas.
That's how we used to roll with each other.
So I was booking like really serious transactions, and I was not doing bad. Like I had a relationship with the managing director. I could go to his office, discuss transactions. I had really serious clients, and I really felt like I was going to do well in banking, but something just disconnected towards like my 10th year. And 10 years is supposed to be like milestone. Like, this is where I really felt like in this my 10th year, I was going to level up, grow into management, because it was at the time the bank was undergoing a management shuffle. Like the previous cabinet, due to regulation, had to step aside because of tenure, and the younger people. So the people that I had been working with were the people who were poised to take over. And, bad as it bad, I would have gotten a decent position. But so many events in the 10 years just kind of made me realize that maybe I'm not a finance bro, as things, may happen. And I remember when I was trying to leave the bank, because I had tried maybe once or twice, and I'd spoken to my parents, spoken to people around me, and they're like, bro, like there's nothing outside, like you're doing well, like, just go back. No story is easy, But the day I left, like it was one of those things where I was like, bro, I'm not even talking to anybody. It's like, are we allowed to use?
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah, it was like a fucking moment. I was like, I remember even my supervisor called me to his house. This guy was talking about his family. He was talking about the problems he was having with he was giving me everything to like keep me there, but something just disconnected. I just had to.
What prompted a move though? Like it was like, what was it like? Was there a particular moment where you did you feel like you're not going to get into a position you wanted, or was it like a gradual process in terms of shit, like this is not gonna happen? It was a combination of all of the above.
Okay, so I feel like this is something I'm not really spoken about too much, at least to people on the outside. And I gave like a vow to myself that I wasn't going to badmouth the company that I worked in, because
Yeah.
a lot of the building blocks that I even applied till today in Quacktails, I feel like I learned it from the people I worked with in GT Bank. But it was a combination of many things. If I can try and summarize it, at the time, I had expectations that I feel were not being met. Um, I was hoping some people would leave the organization, which, which is a terrible thing to say, but the organization kind of restructured, obviously for the better of business continuance. You know, they restructured into a holding. So
Chico.
some of the executives that I had expected to leave were not leaving. At the same time, I think, you know, if I go back to how I was in university, I was very liberal, very I lean towards more of like the creatives, you know. My morals were not very I mean, I like to make money. I really like to make money, but then it wasn't really the core fabric of like my existence. And when you are working in finance, the core fabric of your existence is how to make money, you know, first. You know, how to make money first. Everything else is secondary. Um, I participated very actively during End SARS in 2020. Yeah. And this was about the same time I started playing around with Quacktails, you know. So we're out there on the first day, like sharing like cold water to the protesters.
Oh wow.
Then during the protest, people would reach out to Quacktails saying, oh, they have crates of like soft drinks, or they have food, but they're scared to come to the ground. I mean, I was already there, like, oh, we're having a good time, you know. So I was like, yeah, send it to me. I had a bus, and in fact, I even had bus drivers who would come and volunteer. Like, so we were going around picking food and just keeping the protest going, you know. And at the same time, like the banking sector wasn't really supporting the protest. You know, there were communications internally saying we shouldn't be there. You know, some accounts were, I'm not saying it was GT Bank that blocked the account, but some accounts were blocked. And I was really thinking that, look, man, is this who do I like align more with? You know, so on one hand, I'm not really moving. I'd reached like almost middle management, but I wasn't really moving forward, and a new layer had been created. On the other hand, I'm outside here protesting with people for what I thought was a very good cause, and the communication. And to be honest, man, I just was not really a finance guy. Like, I just wasn't. Like, I just aligned a bit more with I don't know the words to use, you know. And it was just something that just clicked in my head that, bro, that this is not you, man. Like, yeah.
So like, what were the kind of like? I mean, you were kind of getting into it, like the kind of like, what were the emotions you were experiencing at this time? Like, because it's a turbulent time. It just if you were to define those emotions.
Oh man, there's so many emotions, because when you're like trying to leave something that you've become comfortable in, system,
I'm a part of your psyche as well. Like,
become a
you
part
are.
of your psyche. It's a system that you understand, and it's not a system that's telling you that you're not going to progress. There was no indication in GT Bank saying that they didn't want me to be there, like, you know. So my comforts were there. I had comforts in the system, like, you know. In addition, I had family, like, so I had two kids. And
That's a whole other thing.
so I had responsibility.
You're gonna be a bit more conservative. The inclination is to be conservative because of that.
And I had like my parents telling me, like, look, use your sense. Like, this is, you're not a child. Like, you know, you can't give in to your, you know. So it was just a lot of things. Like, it was a lot of confusion, but man, when the spirit it's very difficult to stop it, you know. So I had typed my letter. I remember when I dropped my resignation letter, I didn't tell anybody. Like, I was like, I've signed this thing and I'm not looking back. So damn the consequences, you know.
Like, how was the conversation with the parents, man? And that, like, I saw your parents at my wedding, right? And they were like, "Oh yeah, you know, Daré told me about you, blah blah blah." It's just like, and they were like just glowing and clearly proud of you. So like, how has that relationship evolved in terms of like when you told them about the idea and now, like,
Oh yeah, my parents. I love my parents said that. Like they're very supportive, and I'm sure their own accounts of how things happen may differ today. But um, I feel like I got a lot of resistance from them in the beginning. I feel like my mom and my dad were more um leaning more of me to make more strategic steps as opposed to um just giving into my emotions. But then at the time I was leaving, it wasn't really it wasn't completely like an emotional decision, you know. I had this business that had started um you know, the Quacktails business had started already. COVID had come and gone, and COVID was really I left the bank in April 2021. I would have been 10 years January or August, I think August the same year, you know. So the business had already started, and I had started making some money, especially after the delivery business started during the pandemic. So I saw like there was a business. I wasn't sure how much the business would have gone. Initially, when I was quitting, when I quit, I had the mindset that I was going to quit for like 6 months, just get myself together, dust off my CV, then go back. I was a bad banker. Like I had a story that I could sell to another bank, as bad as it was, you know. But then I started getting piercings, and it became harder to to go back. So yeah, it was tough, but then it wasn't too tough because I had a business that was generating some income, at least to keep me and the family okay for at least a few months.
yeah, so that's what I was gonna like go into, like how you handle those emotions. Like you said you started
Yeah,
getting piercings. Like when did this metamorphosis, as it were, like how did it start? When did it start? Like what was this?
thing I be
Yeah, like
myself. I don't
because you're
even
now,
I don't know how
now like
what
Quacktails, Bosco.
fully quacko like. But you know what's so funny is when I was in uni, I always like I used to hang around like where like all the punks, all the like alternative and indie kids used to hang around, like all the revolution soldiers, you know, the people with the dreads. So I used to hang around them, but I used to look at them like, I wish I could do this kind of thing, man. Because I was thinking that if I went to get one tattoo or to get when I go back home in December or more, I'll hear it, you know. So like when I left banking, I thought like this. I come back. I come back to Niger. I had worked this 9 years, and I thought, okay, I have this window to really, this childhood that I mortgaged to banking because my 20s was me chasing work and chasing grinding. So I thought, let me just even enjoy small in this my early 30s. Let me use it to play, you know. And I just thought I wanted to get this, and I don't want to grow up thinking that I didn't get something that has been in my mind since I was in school. So I said, let me just do one. I remember my first person, I went with my wife, and like, you know, we all went together and just did it, like, you know. Then after the first one, you know, you get hunger for more, like, you know. And after I saw that, you know, I'd already had the initial fight with like my parents, you know, I was this, and everybody had seen I didn't die, you know. So I just continued, you know, started building my myself, like who I wanted to be, without anybody holding me back.
I've I've completely gone off script because there are
But
questions, and then like
so
I just want to yarn because it's been so long,
mhm,
and this is off script in the sense that like I remember that we went to somewhere in Awolowo Road. It was just after you got engaged.
mhm.
You did like a gathering. It was you, your wife. I think it was your birthday, or either your birthday or your wife's birthday.
Yeah.
Years ago, years ago. And I'm just thinking that journey, man. You and your wife,
Yeah,
like
she's tried.
your metamorphosis,
She's
and then your wife is just
she's still very conservative.
yeah, it's true. Like it, like it's a very corporate job, everything, and like that dichotomy,
Yeah.
kind of like elaborate on that. It's amazing. Like it's obviously a solid partnership.
I mean, myself, I worry for her too because like all these steps, you know, but she's been very supportive. I feel like we've communicated through the things that I want to do. I feel like when I was even the bank, she was one of the people who supported, and I was wondering like, why are you supporting this? Like, you know. But I remember when I was leaving, she kept on saying, bad as a bad, like she would pick up if things don't work,
What's up?
So it gave me that comfort,
That's a
when I was getting my first person as well, she followed me to the parlor.
Oh,
Yeah, I could see her face, like this is not a place that she has been before, But then she just like she understood that, if it's better for me to bring it out than to keep it in, and yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
nice. It's wild, man. You guys have been. How long have you been married for?
Hey, it's kind of question you're asking me on camera.
Yeah.
I also calculate.
Use it, calculate.
About 11 years. I think about 11 years. I might be, yeah, about 10, 11 years. 11 years. 2014. Yeah, 2014. That's when we got married.
So now, like, I'm kind of going back on the script. I think the next one is like, were there any specific strategies or like kind of mindset shifts that you had in order to kind of like get yourself ready for post GT and like just handling that move, that transition? Like, was there anything conscious that you did, or was this just all vibes?
Oh, it's a very, very, it's a very good question, and it's a very loaded question because it's not, it's one that I think about a lot. On the surface, I left without a business plan. Quacktails started as a hobby, and hobby became a circumstantial business because, if you go back into the story,
Yeah.
the demand really came. It was a hobby that wasn't getting any business, but then demand came from the lockdown and people wanting drinks while they were at home,
Yeah.
and us figuring like logistics and how to package along the journey,
Us being you and your sister.
Us being me and my sister, my wife in the beginning as well, because we're all at home during, yeah, so we all had to kind of work together. But then I also count like being amongst young people during the protest as a very like seminal part of the business identity and maybe like silent strategy. Because when we make drinks, we feel like we're making drinks for young people with limited income.
So you have like a target market. You know who you're.
That's like
Kind
the,
of.
so if you look at how the social scenes in Lagos in particular, because that's where we've been privy to work. In the past, people would go to the club, buy Hennessy. The money was flowing. Exchange rate was 150 naira. It was easier to ball out. But now like people have.
It's not the same.
Exactly.
Gosh,
Like
yeah.
young people are having to socialize in different ways with limited resources. So we have no minimum order and we have no maximum order. If you're hanging out with your guys and you want 1 or 2 drinks to be delivered in any corner of Lagos,
Wow.
we have that in mind that look, we must be able to we have to be ready to deliver to someone in Ikorodu, even if it's 2 pouches. You understand? And because not every time people want to socialize, they want to buy a bottle, they just want to maybe have a drink with their friends or with their partners. And every time that's what's in our head. How do we make this business comfortable enough for the young consumer in given the circumstances of what Nigeria is today? So it's not like a business strategy. We're going into a phase in the business where we're going to work with consultants to dimension what the next 5 years of the business looks like. And that might transition us from what we are today into maybe manufacturing. It might transition us into more modular kitchens. They're just different ways. I don't have the answer, but I know who the target is, and we're going to let that target direct like the journey.
That's what's up, because like I keep on saying, Nigeria keeps on Nigerianing, and you need to figure out the sustainable model like going forward for you to serve that target clientele. That's the point, right? You need to be in existence and you need to be thriving in order to serve those.
Exactly. And Nigeria is very young. Nigeria is a young country.
Yeah, young.
We have.
I mean, some of our parents were born before Nigeria became like the concept Nigeria happened.
Exactly, but the median age is still 18, and it means that we have a young population who are growing together and figuring out the country together. So we've pitched our tent with this demographic, and we want to grow and be the maybe the beverage of choice for this demographic, however that looks in the future.
I mean, that's a very inspiring story. And so I guess it kind of leads on to my next one. I've asked you about like kind of what emotions you experience, but more like the next one is like, how did you handle those emotions? Like, how did you maintain focus in terms of like, okay, I've now kind of got into this space. This is what I'm doing. Like, how am I going to kind of execute and just get on with it? Like, what were your thoughts around that?
I mean, there's always uncertainty every time. Like, there's always that why this thing feels like, it's not different. It's you that caused it, you understand? Like because you are comfortable before, you now come, but I don't know, like I'm lucky that we have a business, had a business that without marketing has continued to grow. Like, I was looking at our growth rate year on year, and it's been above like 50%,
Wow.
like the compound annual growth
Yeah.
rate. It's been above 50% up until 2024. Like, so we've been lucky because the community that we have supported us back. The people who we were in the protest process with have gone on to become leaders in their own spaces, even if it's like fashion, even if it's tech. And we have
Yeah, a
customers.
few of them, and I know a lot.
Yeah, we have customers from like on one day we can be sending a package to like Google's office or something. Like another day we are providing drinks to like a party in the middle of the street. Like it's a business that has supported Lagos and Lagos is supporting back. But then I believe like everything in Nigeria is just like a law. Everything will cast one day, So you have to be ahead of the cast curve. And I feel like I used like the first few years to just express and be myself. But then now the next few years has to be building like a proper business and just being ahead of this casting curve before it catches, And that's where we are.
You don't want to be a trend.
You don't want to be a trend, exactly.
You want to be a trend.
What's so funny is because when we started this business, we had like a time frame where we were going to close, and we sent out a message to our customers saying, "It's been fun. Thank you very much. We're going back to." And people were like, "No, you can't. You're not going anywhere. And like, figure it out. But you can't just come and go, like And that kind of like just like gingered us, like I quit my own job first, 2021, and my sister quit her own job, 2023. And she was a lawyer in the finance house as well. And now, like, we've had customers from back in 2020 still use us. We've had it's so interesting. Like, we've had people that we delivered to their houses during the pandemic. We've done their bridal showers, we've done their weddings, we've done their corporate activations.
With you.
Yeah, so people are growing, like they're growing with us. We've done drinks for like their kids first, but you understand what I'm saying? Like it's a journey. Like
I've seen a bunch of the Instagram stories of those people's like parties, birthday parties, and parties.
Like so, we found ways that Lagos has found a way to introduce us into its active life, and now we have to build a business that respects that.
And like I think you touched on it, and like during this kind of like growth stage when you were like building the business, like who were like the key protagonists, like in terms of like the support system? So you said your wife, your sister. I mean, they were like your sister's part of it, right?
Yeah.
With you, and your wife initially was like helping, like kind of elaborate on like the ecosystem that kind of like helped you. So like you have your target market, target audience, but can you give like specifics in terms of names and people that really like helped fuel that growth?
Of course, there's so many names. There are many names on different parts of the business. It's one of those businesses where I didn't have like a roadmap in terms of like there was nobody that was essentially doing the same thing before, which is made to order drinks delivered to people's houses. So we had to figure out the supply chain ourselves. Um, Never worked in a restaurant or a bar, so we didn't learn how to make drinks the formal way. There are many things that we learned online, and there are many things that we see online that are not available in the supermarkets in Nigeria. So we had to improvise. And that has been such an important part of our journey. So, for example, we make about 80 to 90% of the non-spirit bases. So if we're making like a strawberry drink, we're getting the strawberries fresh from farm.
Wow.
We're getting dragon fruit, we're getting lemons, we're getting limes. We're going through thousands of bags a year of like fruit and produce. So we've had to develop networks of like aggregators, farmers, grocery lady in Jos.
I did not even think about like the farming
Yeah,
like
the
value
supply
chain.
chain.
Yeah, that's
So we have grocery lady in Jos, which is our joker. She finds fruits. She works with is it botanists, is that the right word? Like
yeah.
people who are like science, like, you know, she can take a foreign fruit and like find an environment to make it grow here and try and bring it to somewhat commercial quantity. Um, our support system, the creatives, the people who I don't know which one is controversial, which one is not controversial, but I've had friends who spurred me on, like people you've interviewed,
Yeah.
Joker, Ozzy, Bolaji, Wadami, Osione, even our outfits made by This Is Us, like the outfits that we wear, because
yeah, it's the
not just the costume, just the story that they're doing, that they're taking things from our land and making it in a way that it's not in your face, it's contemporary. And that's the same ethos that we follow. Like we're farming here, but we're making things that is not telling you like it doesn't have to come in a calabash for it to be African. You understand what I'm saying? It's like how a young African brand can exist in the global world. Look at me speaking.
Yeah.
I beg. But you understand what I'm saying? Like
I do, I get it.
so our community, we've grown with our customers, we've grown with our suppliers, the places where we buy our spirits from, we've all become one big family. Like, I have Larry who runs drinks.ng, the biggest
Yeah.
online retailer. Like he's always like even the way he
In a
speaks.
fantasy league with me.
Yeah, he's a Liverpool supporter. It's different. But yeah, so people sound like him. Like when we are industry events, the way he bigs us up, like we can see like the MD of one of these big brands, like one of these big spirit brands, and we tell them that look at this guy is coming to destroy destroy their business, But it's ginger, like the ginger is coming from the community, and we feel like we have to support the community as well, like, symbiotic.
You guys don't tell. Like Larry, I remember when he's
That is a G.
he tried. It's a grind.
It's a grind.
Pivot as well, like he had to make as well.
And he's broken something. It's so difficult, like bringing something from informal and making it formal, because you face resistance from the people who have enjoyed the brokenness of how the market is, and that's a journey that but him too, he's very his ideology, like he puts his ideology before
Single-minded.
and it's very like Pan-African in his thinking, thinking that we can do it here. I remember like Larry told me that, look, we can build like the next Capri. So I was like, bro, I'm making drinks at the back of my he's like, yeah, but you have to think on that level, like, it's like we can be like, what stops us from, and this is where ginger is coming from, like people that have been along the way.
That's crazy. And I'm just gonna wrap up this segment with what would you say the 3 key takeaways are from your journey, in terms of like if you were to like speaking to, you talk about the young demographics, young populace, like people watching now, What are the three key valuable lessons from your journey, from your story, that you would like to kind of like share with the audience in terms of AKA growth through failure, basically? Like, what were the three key things?
So, um, when I think about, or whenever I speak with people, especially young people who are doing creative things, I always go back to my time in GT Bank. There's some things that I learned in GT Bank that I will never leave, and like this is things that I learned from sessions with like Shegun, who was the
Yeah.
MD of the bank, now group MD of the holding company.
Yeah.
He always told us like never fall in love with any position, which means that what benefits you today might cause you harm tomorrow. So whenever you're looking at a situation, whenever you're looking at a product, whenever you're looking at an item that you want to bring to market, know your margins and know what pays you. You understand? Like, and also whenever I see like these creators, they always have these grand ideas. So a lot of young people are creative. They want to do what they see online, but then I always tell them like, open your Excel, like open your sheet, like know your margins. Don't take a loss position because you love what you're doing so much. Like never fall in love with any position, and that's helped us because the products that we offer, we know our margins. We know the margins of what the bars are offering. We know the margins of the next, and
You
it's
can adjust.
yeah, we
when
can adjust
necessary.
exactly. The suppliers that we started with in the beginning are not necessarily the same people that we're working with now because in our minds we're creating convenience for a certain market, but there's no point of us um, offering it at a price that they can't afford, because we like, say, Jameson. When we started, Jameson was 6.5. Now it's about 30K. You understand? It doesn't mean that people will not drink. You understand? So we need to find. I don't want to take any shots at any company, but it's just like that. Like, you just always have to keep on adapting. Like in Nigeria, and Nigeria is a game of adapt or die. Like, if you're not ahead of that curve, you would fall behind so quick because macroeconomics are not in your favor, exchange rate are not in your favor. More often than not, you would be import dependent. Even if you're not the one importing, the person that is supplying you is importing. So your margins can get vanished overnight based on how the economy is doing. So you need to know your alternatives. Also know how to take advantage of the things that we. I don't know how I'm speaking like this, but not take advantage of what we have on the land. Like, as I said, like we started creating our own bases, and at some point we saw that the margins from buying locally were better than using some certain imported products. Even if we started learning using the imported products, we found ways to protect our margins by producing our own bases, and in that has kept the business growing year on year. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have three. It's just don't fall in love with any position.
Yeah.
Always be adaptable and know your margins. And if you do that, you see that your business is growing, and then you can have some leeway to make decisions and take risks.
So yeah, we're like pretty much done with the growth through failure section. And now we're going to rapid fire questions. Yeah. We're just gonna get some rapid fire questions. I'm gonna get to like I have 9 questions here, but we don't need to go through all 9. You just kind of like go through it.
Sure.
Depends on you. What's one book you'd recommend to people?
One book, okay. I have a serious book and I have a non-serious book. Let me go with the unserious book. I really like Catcher in the Rye or Catcher in the Rye. Yes, J.D. Salinger. It's just a book about nothing, to be honest. Just a kid who leaves school and goes into the city to explore himself. Like, I really like that book
Would you recommend it to people?
because it just teaches like letting go and just living in the moment and adapting. Like, just and it's I don't even think he intends to do that. It's just accepting like that youthful whim and just giving into it.
And
That's a book like serial killers read before the in history. I feel like people who have committed they like that book, but it's a very important book. I feel like everybody should read that book.
what's a quote you would live by, if any at all?
Okay, I have a quote as well, an unserious quote. Like I got it from a rap song. If I song, it's not even nice to.
It's not get rich or die
It's
trying.
not get rid of that trying, but it's by like it's a quote from Drake, and Drake is not a very popular figure, but it's don't ask permission, ask forgiveness. Just essentially, just do it first. Do it first, and if it fucks up, just ask for forgiveness. But
Wow.
don't ask permission, ask forgiveness. Just do it. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to do it, man. Whatever. It is what it is. My time to just get on with it.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
I can't give serious answers now, so no more lap, no more serious answers.
Who inspires you regularly?
Oh, hey, who inspires me? I don't have one person who, honestly, I know it might be a cliche answer, but I'm inspired so much by like young people in Nigeria. Like I'm inspired by so many people, like even from the Femco people during End SARS who came together to create structure. I don't think I've ever seen structure because
It was wild.
during End SARS,
I was in London with Ire and doing the whole thing.
Yeah,
wild.
But it's crazy because my staff got arrested so many times during End SARS because obviously we were protesting, we were providing, and some of them on the night of, that we don't talk about too much, that October, yeah, they were there, and even in that, like when we were looking for them the next morning, we just sent a message on Twitter, and within like hours, like they were located. There was a process in place. It was so organized. Like I haven't seen that level of. I'm sure there's organization in the country, but then just seeing that happen from circumstance. It's not as if there was a plan for a long time. It was just adapting.
That's a whole other podcast, the End SARS.
Yeah, it's a whole. Let me know. Yeah, let me know before. But then just young people. There's so many examples. Like even like he said we met at S16. S16 are creatives. They're creatives doing things. They are doing things a different way. Like so, I have so many people. I'm constantly like blown away by how young people in Nigeria are creating and adapting. So it's just be an injustice for me to pick one person. But young people in Nigeria, the women in Nigeria as well, just getting things done, regardless of the situation or regardless of how the country is, just getting things done, inspires me. Like, can't give up.
What's one skill you think everyone should have?
One skill, like boxing or something. Or I just think adaptability. That's everything. If you can adapt, it goes back to that same quote that Shen said in our meetings. Don't fall in love with any position. Just adapt. So you have to be able to adapt, but then you have to have the foresight, like to know that things can go wrong. So if it goes wrong, how are we adapting? You understand?
I'm taking all this stuff in, man. I'm guessing you guys are taking it in as well.
My English is I'm giving, so
you're dropping gems, man. People are listening.
Give me yours.
This is a random one. We'd be like, what the hell? Because you basically moved from one to another. But it's if you weren't in your current profession, what would you be doing?
What I'd be doing? That's a good question. Hey, what would I feel like what I really love to do, if I wasn't making drinks, I would really love to do like marketing, like experiential marketing. I think just like making experiences is something that I would enjoy doing.
That's what's up.
I don't have a deep answer to that. Maybe like be depressed. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be. I just want to have fun. Like yeah. Something communication.
What's something you've learned about yourself in this past year? So 2024, all 2024.
I've learned that I can't do it by myself. I've learned that I'm limited, and it's okay to be limited. So far you are aware. I always thought that as we're doing this business, I'm going to create this long-term plan. I know the answers, but nah, I don't. And I'm very happy that this first 2 months of the year, I've used it to really think. And every time I think, I come to the conclusion that it's okay for you not to know the answers. Like everybody be saying, "Oh, you're the CEO, you're the one that created, you're the one that started." Nah, I don't know the answers. I don't know what tomorrow is, and because of that, I've had the um comfort in allowing other people come in, and I feel like that's really going to help the business.
That's what's up.
Either make or break, but then I feel like it's going to help the business grow and go into the next phase that we should be going into.
What's one habit you're trying to build or break?
That one is easy. So is procrastination, but the procrastination comes from overthinking. Overthinking everything. Like, that's what they think. I used to stop thinking. Like I don't know if you ever have that where you're thinking and like because you're thinking you just don't do. You know?
My trailer episode is gonna be, it's literally, I told a bunch of my closest friends to do a 1 minute video clip where they like got the phone in front of themselves and they introduce themselves, say what their profession is, how old they are, what one significant strength of mine is, and what a significant weakness of mine is. So, and the thing is, you get like, I got 9 of them, right? And the point is, you want to see what the patterns were, and mine was just not executing on time. That was it's just in the years of flowing, but then you actually execute.
I think you're so organized. You're very organized. Like you have to dot all your.
You have to, but it's just like, but that's one thing to like think of everything, but then to actually execute, that's freaking hard, right? Just do it. That feel night, but
yeah, you have to give them because
fail fast and just move on and just keep doing.
Yep. So that's one thing, like overthinking and overcoming and just straight to execution.
Okay. And if you could have dinner with a historical figure, dead or alive, who would that be?
Who would I like to have dinner with? Let me give you a simple answer because me, I'm not spoken about football, but I like football a lot.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I like to have. It's like this that Jay-Z question. Remember that Jay-Z question? I had dinner with Jay-Z if I was. Yeah. But I like for I'm a Man U supporter, so I'll say maybe like Sir Alex Ferguson and just talk about transitioning, like building success on top of success and transitioning out, building a new team, and just the experiences in doing that. So maybe Sir Alex, maybe Uncle T as well, because I feel like Uncle T of blessed memory, he passed on before a lot of us were in the adult phase, and he started a business by himself, so.
He always says that, like, that's the best, like, to actually have a conversation with him.
As an adult.
As an adult. You guys missed out on that.
Missed out.
Because the people like Lande, that
they enjoy
it. They enjoy it. Actually, like,
I remember we'll just be playing game upstairs.
Yeah, you guys didn't know what's going on.
Yeah, him.
You're like kids to him.
Exactly. And he started his business 35, very young, relatively, and he built a business that it's going to outlive him. Obviously, it's outlived him, but it's a generational business, and just understanding how, I don't know, like, I just feel like.
And they built stuff that, like, failed, or, like, it's kind of, they did the barbershop, right?
Barbershop, yeah. Finishing touches, if I remember.
Yeah, it's still in Awolowo Road or something.
Yeah, cafe. So him, like, I think, he was very, like, somebody that I love that. So maybe Uncle T more than Sir Alex. What I'm saying, Man U supporter, but so we can see him.
And the final question is, what does success mean to you?
Success. I know it's not 100% money. Like, I think success is looking back and being at peace with the decisions that you've made. I don't have one answer for success because as you grow, you have people that you're responsible for. So you can't just go and like just piss off and live your own life because you have. But then Success is, it's a very tough question to answer. But I can tell you what success isn't for me. And it's not just making money and being rich at the expense of what your own morals or your character is. I've never looked up to anybody based off of how rich the person is. It's never really enough, you know? I need to know the fabric of your character, what you stood for, and what you continue to stand, even if it's wrong. You know, so far you stand for something, and just I know money is not enough, and I know I'm not building a business because I want to be rich. If I want to be rich, I've made the wrong decision by leaving to bank. But success for me is building something that outlives my name first and foremost, but also something that stands for what my own core beliefs are, and that's putting the human experience first. Building for, respecting people before profit, I guess, and yeah, just being remembered for the right things. I don't know the answer to that question in like verbiage, in like a nice, simple way, but then it's not just making money, it's making money and growing with the people that you're making money with and from.
That's what's up, man. And on that note,
yeah, that's it.
Don't wrap up, man.
Thank you very much, man. Cheers. My brother.
Thank you for listening to Growth Through Failure, where we overcome failure one story at a time. Enjoy the episode, then like, subscribe, and share with your circle. Remember, failure is a stepping stone to success. So stay resilient, stay curious, and embrace the power of failure.